What you guys will notice is that this lesson is a lot like the lesson from yesterday. The only difference that we have is instead of having just a whole number and subtracting a mixed number from it, now we have a mixed number subtracting from a mixed number. And as an added bonus, what's going to happen is, as you've noticed over here, we have a lower number and then a higher number. So you're going to look at this and go, well, we have common denominators, which is good, and we can just subtract them. However, 3 from 1, what do we do with that? So, I'm going to show you today, this is what you do when you have a mixed number and we're subtracting from a mixed number, and when we have a numerator that's smaller, and how we get around that problem. So our lesson today is subtract mixed numbers with like denominators. So the good thing is all these problems will have like denominators. Okay? None of them will have uncommon, but I bet you can guess. We'll come to that later. But for today, we're just subtracting like yesterday, and we are only doing like denominators. So the first example is 7 1/4 subtract 1 3/4. Now, up on the smartboard we have the steps. Step 1 is very much like yesterday's step 1. Step 1 is to rename the larger mixed number by subtracting 1 from it and adding 1 back to it. And the reason why we subtract 1 from 7 and add 1 back is that we still need it to be a value of 7. So that's very similar to yesterday. Alex, are you keeping up with the steps? Okay, keep writing. So we have 6 plus 1. That's still going to give us 7, and we're still keeping our fraction of a 1/4. Okay, so that's all still together.
3.
Then we have step 2. And this is going to be slightly different. Step 2, rename your whole number 1, that's like last time, by changing it to a fraction. Use the denominator as your numerator and denominator, and then add your common fractions. That part, add your common fractions, we didn't have yesterday. Now we do. So we take our 6, because remember, once you write 7, you never write it again. It's never going to be 7 ever again, right? It's going to be 6 plus your fraction, because we renamed the 1. The 1 is now 4/4. We've used the denominator that's in the problem, 4, as our numerator and denominator. That's still 1 whole. So 6 plus this whole is still 7, plus our 1/4 is still our original 7 1/4. So now, the last part is add your common fractions. Well, these are my common fractions. I have common denominators, so I add straight across. So 4 plus 1 is 5. So I get 6 5/4. Now, smarty pants out there, who can tell me what 5/4 is? Thank you, Caitlin, for raising your hand. Yes.
It is 80.
What kind of fraction is 5/4?
Oh, it is an improper fraction.
Very good. It is an improper fraction. But that's okay. We want it to be an improper fraction because, as you noticed, this used to be a 1. Now it's a 5. It's great that it's a 5 because this down here is a 3. And we need to be able to take that 3 from the 5. Before we couldn't do that because it was a 1. And we can't take 3 from a 1. We would get a negative number, right? So now, step 3, it's like what was yesterday. You subtract your fractions, then subtract your whole numbers, simplify if you can, and check your answer. So, we have 6 5/4 minus 1 3/4. Another little pattern you're going to see is you never touch the second mixed number, right? This number over here, 1 3/4, did we do anything to it? Nope. So you just kind of put it off to the side, and you bring it back right at the very end. Okay? So you're only ever going to be doing things with the larger number. And we know in subtraction, that's always the first number that they give you, as long as we're not getting into negatives. So we have 5 minus 3, which is 2. Our common denominator is 4. And 6 minus 1 is 5 wholes. Why can't I just go ahead and subtract 5 minus 3? What allows me the ability to do that? 5 minus 3. Why can I do that? Why am I allowed to do that? Caesar?
Because you have the common denominator.
Right. I have common denominators. So at this point, I'm good to go. Plus, this number in subtraction needs to be bigger than my second number. Okay, so I can get a positive. So then I get 5 and 2/4. But wait a second, 2/4. What have I been trained to do now? To ask myself, Julie?
You have to simplify it.
Yeah, I need to see if I can simplify. I always ask myself, can my lower number go into my bigger number? Yes, 2 can go into 4, so I divide both by 2. 2 goes into itself one whole time, and 2 goes into 4 twice, so my answer would be 5.5, and I circle my answer. Now, how can I check my answer? That's the only thing I haven't done here. 5.5. How do I know that that's right? Because as you guys saw from yesterday, if you don't check your work, you might have gotten the wrong answer, especially with subtraction. So what do I need to do to check my answer? So answer, add the lower number to see if I get my big number to start. So if I take 5.5 and I add 1 3/4 to it, do I have a common denominator? No, I'd have to change it to 4 to figure that out. Or I could keep this just to check my answer. If I added it back, 2 plus 3 is 5/4. And then 5 plus 1 is 6, but 5/4 is really 1 1/4. So I add all my wholes together, and I would get 7 1/4. Okay? I know I'm just verbally telling you that, but we've practiced it so many times, and I'll show you how to check it, okay? We just don't quite have room here. Alright, so we're going to do some practice problems in just a moment. You can go ahead and stop.